So, the Game Awards are right around the corner, and I figured it would be maybe a good time for me to count down my personal top 5 games that I've played in 2021. Now, I didn't play every single game this year, obviously. I can only play so many games because I am on a budget. You know, I can't afford every single game. I can only play the ones that I'm really, really interested in. So there's going to be a lot of really good games that came out this year that aren't going to be on this list. Just for example, Metroid Dread, Ratchet and Clank, It Takes Two, you know, stuff like that. Didn't really have the opportunity to play those, so they're not gonna be on this list. But I know there's a really good games because I've been watching people play them, and I know people have had a lot of really great things to say about them. Number 5 on my list is actually it's funny because there was 2 games that were almost tied for number 5, but I'll get to why the second game actually isn't number 5 on this list. My number 5 game of 2021 is Scarlet Nexus. We streamed this game on the channel. It was a great time. It was a great time. It was fun. I do have my issues with the game, but overall, really enjoyed my experience with this game. So Scarlet Nexus, you know, having the aesthetic that it is, automatically caught my eye. I was like, you know what? I think this game is gonna be good. It's right up my alley. I do like Bandai Namco's stuff. You know, I played Code Vein, I think a year or 2 ago. And so it's got, you know, kind of like that anime art style like Code Vein that Bandai Namco did. So I was like, yeah, I think I'd be interested in this. And I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, to be completely real. The best way I describe it is, it's a good time. And I think the highlight of this game for me is 100% just the characters. The characters are great. There's only like a couple of characters that I'm like not too crazy about, but other than that, like if I were to make a tier list of like all the Scarlet Nexus characters, I don't think I would put anybody below a B besides like maybe 2. Maybe 2 characters. They would literally all be S tier or A tier characters. Like the cast is fantastic. The game is fun. It's fun to play. The gameplay kind of starts off kind of basic. It's kind of like, oh, I can swing my sword, like we'll say Yuito as an example, because you do play as 2 characters. You play as Yuito and you play as Kasane. It's like, all right, swing my sword around, do like a 3-hit combo. They have the power of psychokinesis, so they can like grab things with their mind and chuck them at enemies, which is a lot of fun, and you can combo into certain moves using that, so that makes the gameplay a little more interesting. It starts off super basic, but once you get further into the game and you bond with your teammates more, that's like a big thing in this game is you get to use abilities, basically borrow abilities from your teammates via this thing called SAS. They're all connected on this like network, so they can like borrow their teammates' abilities, which is really cool. So like you'll have Hanabi who has pyrokinesis. You'll have Luca who has teleportation. And so you can literally borrow Hanabi's ability and just lay fire to your enemies, or you can borrow Luca's teleportation, and then you can teleport and use it to like move super fast and to catch some enemies that might be a little bit too fast for your movement. And once you learn more moves, once you get some upgrades, and once you there's a point in the story where you actually get everybody in the, like all the characters like on your team, you can really at that point, you have access to just everyone's abilities, like invisibility, duplication, super speed, gosh, like you name it, whatever. It gets more fun towards the end of the game. My biggest problem with the game, the pacing of the story was kind of not great, if you ask me, in my opinion, because it's one of these games where it starts off super slow and it takes a while to pick up. But then when it does pick up, it picks up, you know? Like, it picks up when it does pick up. Yubito and Kasane can time travel, which is another part of their ability. And so you find out because of them time traveling, this thing called the Kunad Gate opened up. And it's like, yo, we gotta figure out how to close this gate. And so where the story got super interesting was like, it just kind of hits you with like all this information of like, oh, all right, like the lore of like the extinction belt, the lore about the moon and everything, especially if you're playing as Yubito, because Yubito is more in the dark about a lot of things. So I definitely, if you play this game, I recommend playing as Yubito first. You meet up with Kasane's crew eventually. You don't know why, but Kasane's team is like trying to kill Yubito. And it's like, what the heck is going on? Like, I thought we were friends. And so you have no idea why. And then so Kasane drops his bomb on you of like, oh yeah, we're trying to kill you because that's the only way we're going to stop the Kunad Gate from expanding and the only way we're going to stop the world from ending. And it's like, what? And then Yubito's like, who told you that? And they're like, we found out from your future self. And it was like, whoa! When the story picks up, it picks up. The pacing wasn't great. It was kind of, it did kind of drag at a lot of parts. And there were some characters that kind of just felt like they were just used as plot devices. Nagi. Sorry, I don't know where that came from. That was definitely one of my bigger gripes with the game. Scarlet Nexus is like Bayonetta meets Kingdom Hearts meets Devil May Cry. That is a very interesting comparison. I don't know if I would go that far. A game like that kind of seems like combat is like unhinged. You're definitely limited to things that you can do. It is really cool though, because you can use like 2 SAS abilities at once. So you can have like electrokinesis and like hyper velocity going at like one time. That's like something that you learn later on. And that's what makes the combat fun. You know, you gotta experiment with different moves based off of like borrowing powers from your teammates to defeat certain enemies, because like there's certain enemies that are weak to certain things and vulnerable to certain things. I personally definitely favored certain abilities over others, so you kind of like form a playstyle based off of like abilities that you like using. Like I loved using hyper velocity, not just because I love Arashi. The final like 2 hours of the game definitely drags a little bit because you're kind of thrown into what I call the gauntlet. You're basically just running through and you're just fighting waves of enemies and kind of revisiting areas that you've already been to, because of you're trying to stop this guy. The villain in the game, he's a really cool villain. You know, he's basically time traveling to like save one of his friends, but you're trying to stop him because he keeps time traveling too much and making things worse. And so you're kind of running through this like enemy gauntlet, and it's not the best because it's just like, all right, when's it gonna end? When's it gonna end? But so it's like not paced very well. Like it just kind of drags. Like we didn't need that. But because the gameplay at that point is so fun, it kind of makes up for it. Like, I enjoyed fighting those enemies, you know? Like, I actually enjoy fighting the enemies in the game. The reason why this game is number 5 for me, regardless of some of the problems I have with the story and stuff like that, it's the characters. And honestly, the best part of this game, 100% without a doubt, is the bonding episodes. The bonding episodes are fantastic. I could not wait to go back to the hideout and see who was available to talk to. There is a bonding system in this game, and not everyone has like an episode available, so you have to like use their abilities in combat, and you have to buy them gifts and like actually use them in your party and stuff like that to kind of increase your bond and make those episodes available. But they're fantastic. Like, that's literally the best part of this game. That's why I loved it so much. It was awesome getting to know the depths of, like, a lot of these characters and, like, how deep some of these characters got. Especially, like, Shiden. He's a cocky character done right, if you ask me. Like, he's super cocky on the surface, but then whenever you get to know him, there's, like, a reason to why he is how he is, and you find out that, you know, he was, you know, where his inspirations come from, and he's a fantastic character. This game has such good characters, and I'm so glad that they have this bonding mechanic in the game, because then you get to know these characters better. I'll tell you, for one thing, I was not crazy about Kyoko. I just didn't care about her. I was like, whatever. But whenever we played Kasane's route and we got to know Kyoka a little bit and why, you know, basically know why she is how she is, like, you know, she's very motherly, she's the mom of the group. She definitely went up like a tier for me. Like, I was like, okay, like, she's growing on me. I understand why she's the way that she is, you know? I feel like with maybe not every bonding episode, but a lot of these bonding episodes, there's always something that you can take away from them. Like, they always get super deep. Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them get real deep. Like, I know anytime I go into a bonding episode with Luca, I know I'm gonna leave a changed man, because that man has a lot of wisdom. He always just says something, and I'm just like, wow, that's really good. You know? There's also team bonding episodes that happen every once in a while in the story, and the one team bonding episode that happened was so enjoyable. It was so fun. They all just kind of huddle around. They're just playing video games, and but like Gemma and Kyoka set it up as kind of like a drill, so they can get everybody to work together to beat Arashi at like chocobo racing. Basically, it was a fun time, you know. The characters and the bonding episodes, in my opinion, that's the best part of this game, and that's what makes Scarlet Nexus number 5 for me. Even though I have my gripes with it, it was still fun to play. It was a great experience. I logged like 60 hours into this game, and I don't regret any of it. I think that's all I have to say. And also, we have an Arashi Twitch emote. We now have an Arashi Twitch emote. So of course this game was going to make it on this list, right? It was gonna make it on this list. The other game that would have been number 5, if it wasn't Scarlet Nexus, would have been Little Nightmares 2. The only reason why I don't have Little Nightmares 2 as number 5 or on this list is strictly just because I haven't finished the game yet. But man, which is funny because that's another Bandai Namco game. Yeah, I have nothing else to say. I recommend it if you have some time to spare. It is lengthy because you are playing as 2 characters. You have to play through the game twice to get the full story, but it is really good. Very enjoyable.